Well, hello, everyone. My name is Gary Beam, SVP class of 74. Let's hear it. So I'm going to talk about technology. You know, we're here celebrating our 45th anniversary, and you think back to how the classroom was when it was first founded and how it is today. Well, I'm going to talk about the evolution of the classroom. What was the oldest technology that you can remember back in the days of the original classrooms? Yes, chalkboards, blackboards. That was the tools that we had for so many years, and things have evolved tremendously. Currently, you'll find not blackboards, but yes, whiteboards. And moving forward, even smart boards. And I remember the days when I first came here, we had no personal computers. The professors would use the transparencies and the overhead projector to display their information, what they were teaching, so on and so forth. Well, today with the advancements in technology, the classroom has come a long way. You have the smart board, you have the writing board, you have the display, you have your computer. But the question to you, is that the right method for teaching deaf students? That's something that we're wondering. Let me also back up. In terms of what we see in the classroom. Oftentimes you have, a hearing professor, and the hearing students can, they certainly are able to engage with the professor by listening to the professor's presentation. At the same time, they're able to see what is visually presented and listen at the same time. So collecting all that information at the same time, it helps them gain understanding, whereas a deaf student faces something very different. And we all know that. We all have had that experience coming into the classroom. You have your interpreter. That's, quote, your engagement. But that's not the professor. That's the interpreter. So you will often pay attention to the professor as well as the interpreter. But then you also have to monitor what is being presented visually on the blackboard or the smart board. And so that dynamic presented very, very difficult challenges for all of us, as opposed to what the hearing students were able to engage in. We had challenges, with the interpreter and going back and forth, looking at the blackboard, the visual presentation. You really had to go back and forth. And so we've done some research on, okay, well, the classroom has evolved. There's been advancements. Has it incorporated the needs of a deaf student with the advancements? The answer is probably no. We're thinking hopefully down the road, we know that technology will advance further and further, especially TV technology. The prices have come down. The size of the screens have gotten larger and larger. The pixel presentation has become clearer and clearer. And so with this technology, for a deaf student, again, having to stay engaged, we thinking of developing this technology where it can all be on one central location, this huge TV monitor. For example, look here. You see we have the captioning. You see my picture being displayed. You see the visual here. Are you looking at me? Are you looking at the captioning? Are you looking at the slide? You're having to go back and forth, and that's what it is like for a deaf person. But is that the most effective? Is there a way that we can incorporate technology to put everything centrally located on at a place where you can visually see it all at the same time, and therefore having that engagement as opposed to having to keep your attention going from one place to another? So with this technology, we acquired a 70-inch TV monitor. And again, the idea is to have this one central location where you maintain eye contact on this location. You don't have to choose to look at either the interpreter, the professor, the PowerPoint presentation. We still have a ways to go to develop this new technology, but we see so many promising results, and we think that we can change the technology to make this more effective for our deaf students. It is coming. We're sure that down the road it will come, like a see-through TV. And we think as a result, learning will become much more effective for our deaf students. Let me share some examples of how this technology may look like down the road. If you're working with a hearing professor, they're talking, and so the interpreter is, signing what is being said, and then there's maybe a cue that you'll have to look at the PowerPoint, and so you'll turn away, disengage with the professor, disengage with the interpreter, and then have to pay attention to the PowerPoint. Oh, this technology, we're thinking that that'll overcome that barrier. Next slide, please. This is a great tool for tutoring. We do a tremendous amount of tutoring. A lot of our students attend the other colleges of RIT, CAST, the College of Engineering. And so with tutoring, we think that this technology will enhance the tutoring experience for students. There's a chance to use this technology to share the information all on this one screen, so we see applications in the tutoring realm. Also for remote education, today with video phone technology, it's there, it's here, but we're thinking of even applications in that realm where we can have more effective communication. Next slide, please. So next. So we're currently researching, experimenting with this technology to see how effective it is. Before, the teacher would always stand in front of the class, but the information would be located behind the professor on the board. With this, we think that we can put the professor behind the technology, and you have all the information centrally located at your disposal, instead of the old-fashioned way of having to choose where you keep your engagement. Will this be far-reaching and change, be revolutionary in education? We're hoping, but again, the idea is to make a more effective teaching paradigm for deaf students, have everything centrally located. Okay, I think my time is up, or nope. That's all, folks. So thank you, and thank you for your attention.